Hi everyone, I am Rachel Colton of R&C, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this cute little Aviator baby bodysuit. You could also make this on a kid's t-shirt or even an adult's t-shirt. So to make this project, I'm going to show you a couple different things. I'm going to show you how to use the slice tool in Cricut Design Space to edit an image. And then I'm going to show you how to cut and apply Cricut Sportflex Iron On using your heat press. The materials that you're going to need to complete today's project are your garment. I'm going to be using a gray cotton Carter's bodysuit in size 3 months. You could also make this on a kid's t-shirt or even an adult's t-shirt, whatever you prefer. I'm going to be working with the Cricut Sportflex Iron On. I prefer to work with the Sportflex as opposed to the regular Iron On because it does have a little bit of give and stretch. So I find it looks better on cottons that also have a little bit of give and stretch. And I find that it holds up better than the regular Iron On as well, which I found will sometimes crack over time. To cut your design, you're going to want to use your Strong Grip mat, which is the purple one. And I find that with the Sportflex, I also need some painter's tape to help hold that down onto the mat. As far as tools go, you're going to need your weeding tool, and you're also going to need a pair of scissors. To apply the design to the garment, I'm going to be using the Cricut Heat Press. So if you have one of those, you can follow along with that. If you don't have a heat press, you can always just use your regular household iron. All right, so let's get started. The first thing you need to do once you have launched your Cricut Design Space is to come down to this plus sign and open a new project. Once you have your new blank canvas, you're going to come over here on the left and click on the images icon. And then we're going to search sunglasses. Now you have all these images to choose from, and that's just a style preference. The image that I prefer are these aviators. However, when I first made this project, this image of just the aviators was not available, and neither was this one. The only one that was available was this one. So I've already purchased this image. I'm going to use that one, and I'm going to show you how to use the slice tool to alter that image. So you can see over here that there are two parts to this image. You have this teal background, and then you have the yellow with the sunglasses cut out. I'm going to hide the teal background because we don't need that part. Now I want the part that's cut out of the yellow, and I don't want any of this yellow part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to Shapes. I'm going to choose the circle. And then I'm going to come down here to the corner, and I'm going to unlock this so that I can make it into an oval. Now I'm going to put the oval over top of the sunglasses, and I need it to cover the entire shape of the glasses without going outside of the yellow. So that looks good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both images. So I'm going to first click on the gray oval. Then I'm going to hold down my Shift key and select the yellow shape. Both of those are selected, so I'm going to go down to Slice. So what that did is it sliced the outline of those sunglasses out of the oval. And it also sliced the oval out of that yellow shape. So I'm just going to select and delete all the parts that I don't want. And what I'm left with is the sunglasses. Now these I'm going to resize based on my project. I'm going to be using a baby onesie or one piece. So what I want to do is make the length, I guess since it's going this way, that would be the width. I want to make the width 4.5. So I'm going to change that up here, and since it's locked, it'll keep the same aspect ratio and adjust the height for me. So what we need to do now is we'll go to Make It. And since this is going to be an iron-on project, I'm going to click the mirror. Technically for this image, since it's symmetrical, it doesn't change when you click on mirror, but I like to use that just to stay in the habit of selecting mirror image when I'm using iron-on. So now I'm going to connect my computer to my machine. I'll show you how to cut this out of the Sportflex vinyl. Now that our design is ready to go, we're going to cut it out of the Sportflex in black. So I'm just going to take the protective sheet off of my purple mat, and as you can see, this is not a new mat. It's got some fuzz and stuff in it. But even with a brand new strong grip mat, I find that I still need something extra to help hold the backing of the Sportflex down. So this is a new roll, so it's really easy to find the shiny side. That's what you want to put face down on the mat. So I'm just going to line that up at the end and press it down. And you can see it's already starting to come up. So what I do is just take a strip of painter's tape. Unfortunately, I only have the really wide stuff on hand. And you're just going to put that at the edge and then fold that back over, and that's going to hold this in place. Since I have a new roll, I'm not going to worry about the other end, but if I was just using a little piece of the Sportflex, I would want to also tape the bottom to hold that in place as well. All right, make sure that you are set to iron on the materials dial on your Cricut, and over on your computer, you just want to hit Make It and Continue, and then we're ready to go. That arrow is blinking, telling me to load my mat, and the blinking C. And then the blinking arrow again tells me I'm ready to unload. And I'm just going to take the tape off. And even if your tape overlapped your design a little, your blade will be able to cut through both materials. So don't worry about that. So then what I'm going to do is just cut a rectangle around my design. Set my Sportflex aside, and then you're going to use your weeding tool to take off that excess vinyl. So you just want to take the end and work it under the vinyl, between the vinyl and the plastic backing. And then once you've got the corner of it, just pull sort of at a 45-degree angle. Watch your little detailed parts to make sure that they're not coming up. Just go a little slower, or use your weeding tool to hold them down if they start coming up. And then once you've got all that off, we are ready to apply the design to our garment. Now that we have our design cut out, we are ready to apply it to our garment. I'm going to be using the Cricut Heat Press. Now I have the recommended settings posted behind my desk, and for cotton with the regular iron-on, it recommends about 305 degrees for 30 seconds. But I have found that I prefer a slightly higher temperature and a slightly longer time. I was having some issues with the edges of my vinyl coming up. So I'm gonna set it a little higher to 315 for 45 seconds. So what we need to do is just push the power button, and it's going to start off with your temperature blinking at 250 degrees. So I'm just going to click that plus arrow until I get to 315. Then you can hit temp again to set it. Then hit timer. It's preset to 30 seconds. I'm going to increase that with the plus sign to 45. And then hit timer again to set that. Now it's going to take a few minutes for the press to heat up. So while we're waiting for that, we can get our garment ready to go. So I'm going to be using the Cricut mat. If you don't have one of these, you could just use an ironing board or even just roll up a towel. And with these bodysuits, I like to put that in the corner and then just eyeball my design so that it's center and hanging straight. Once your heat press has reached the desired temperature, you're going to hear that beep. That means it's ready to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the design, and I'm just going to heat up the garment for about 5 seconds with the press. So I'm just going to hold that down where the design will be and count to about 5 or 7 seconds. Okay, then you just want to position your design. I just eyeball it center and straight. The Sportflex doesn't stick too well, so just kind of lay it where you want it, and then the pressure will hold it down. Okay, so then you're going to make sure you cover your design completely. I like to press down with a decent amount of my body weight, and then you're going to click the green C to start the timer, counting down. Okay, when you hear the beep, you know that your time is complete. And what you want to do is flip your garment over, and you're going to press down on the back for about 10 to 12 seconds. And that I'll just count in my head. Now I'm going to let my design cool before I peel it off. So the reason I like to let my design cool before I peel the plastic off is when you let it cool and you peel it off, you're going to see if there's any areas that didn't form a strong bond. So you just want to slowly peel the plastic off, and if you see any areas that are trying to come up with the plastic, especially around the edges and the small detailed parts, then you know that's something you're going to want to go back over with your iron. Especially with this design, it's hard to get a good connection with the heat press at this seam. So right here, if there's a little bit coming up, you can cover that with a cloth. I usually use just a thin cloth napkin. You can just cover your design with a cloth and then go back over that area with your household iron to make sure that it is securely bonded to the fabric. But if you've got a good bond all over, you are all done, and there's your finished project. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please subscribe.